Before we take these boxes apart, let's talk about the drawers. Now, the thing that I don't like about the 56-inch US General cart is that on the top drawer, and all the drawers for that matter, they do not pull all the way open. But as we see, the Icon drawers do pull all the way open. Now with the 56-inch US General, if you keep your sockets in your top drawer, which I'm gonna say majority of people do, and if you have your sockets in a stand-up configuration, then you lose around 3¼ inches in the drawer depth. Now you can put some other stuff behind those, but then you gotta reach around your sockets. So if you're like me, what I end up doing is having to throw some extensions back there and pull my sockets forward, but that's a lot of lost area. And if we multiply the 3¼ by the 4¼ drawer depth by the drawer length 37, then we end up with about 511 cubic inches of lost storage space just on the top drawer alone. So if we went through and measured all the drawers and talked about some of the storage space we could lose, now the bottom drawers, it doesn't make that big a difference because they're so deep, and on a lot of the drawers it doesn't make a big difference, but particularly on the top drawer it makes a big difference just because of the way that most people set their sockets up. So that's pretty significant to lose that much storage space. So the Icon box does fix that problem that I had with the US General box. Now, another thing we can look at is when we pull the US General drawer completely out, we can see that there is a lot of play in that drawer. It is really chintzy and cheap feeling. Now, when we pull the Icon drawer all the way out, we do have some wiggle, and every box has some wiggle when you pull it out, but you can feel a big difference. There is a humongous difference in the feel of these drawers and the wobble of these drawers. And we can also walk around the back of the Icon, and we can hit the back of this box and take a listen. Now, if we walk around the US General and do the same thing with roughly the same amount of force, now this isn't perfect, but we can listen to this. That's a big difference. So just the looks and the sound of these, I can tell a big difference. I can feel a big difference. This is almost like a pop can compared to this box, judging off the sound. You can tell a lot just by that sound on the quality and thickness of metal that's used in these boxes. But we also see another feature that the Icon box has, which is an integrated power strip in the drawer. And also it has holders for some of your cordless tools and air tools. Now, those are nice, but you are going to lose a lot of space using those drawers. If you put battery chargers in the power strip drawer, and if you put your air tool and cordless tools in there standing up, you do lose a lot of space. But you can, underneath where the air tools goes in, you can fit a lot of stuff under there, so you can put some of your other air and cordless tools underneath there. Now, the holster and the rack down the middle are both adjustable. You can go up or down. And I took a 3/4 inch Ingersoll impact, and I did have to adjust the holster to have it down so that way I could even shut this drawer, but it went down. It's easy to do. There's one screw, you unscrew it, pull it down. There's 2 guide pins that you push in, slide down, and screw it back in. So it took a total of about 1 minute to do, and now the Ingersoll fit in there perfect. Another feature that the Icon box has is the 2 plugins in the front and the 2 USB. In the power strip drawer, that has a total of 7 outlets and 2 USB outlets. Now, you can see here that I was able to fit 4 chargers in there, and it's pretty jam-packed. So I can't see myself needing all those outlets or the USB charging, but especially when they do have 2 120 plugs and 2 USB plugs on the front of the box. Now, there have been people to say they don't like the placement of that, and it could cause a problem, maybe. But the way this box is set up, this is not, when you put this box or whatever box in your home, a box this big, this box is not a mobile box. This box is meant for you to keep your bigger tools, or like an overflow box. Then you're gonna work out of a smaller cart. So the fact that the outlets are on the front really isn't significant to me. I think I can manage to work around those, but I can understand where they're coming from. But we can see the difference in the trim on the Icon compared to the US General. The trim wraps all the way around the drawer handles, and even on the top of the trim on the outside, it's even stamped Icon, and you can even feel a big difference in the trim. Trim on the US General is really cheaply made. I've actually pulled the trim off of the 72-inch box. It's been a problem ever since I've had this box. It just kept catching on the plastic drawer locks, and eventually it just ripped off. But this thing it's really cheap, and when you look at this compared to this, there's a big difference. You can see even just the thickness of the trim on the outside. This is almost an inch, where you're looking at about a 1/4 inch on the trim for the US General. And even the side handles on the Icon, they have a rubber grip. They feel really sturdy, and even in the rubber grip, it's also stamped Icon. So even the handles compared to the US General is a big improvement. And you can feel the improvement, and you can see the improvement. The locks on the US General are just a tubular lock. You just turn it in and it locks your drawers. Now the locks on the Icon box are interchangeable core lock with security milled keys. Now from what I can understand and what I can find out about it, I believe that you will be able to use one key that will be able to be fit and used with any other Icon product you buy. Now, the keys on these, I feel kind of scared to lock and unlock the box, because I feel like that maybe it's a little weak, but I think that it's because if we look at these keys, we can see that they move up and down. They're on a hinge. So I think that's why. I don't think there's any danger of the key breaking, but it does kind of feel like that. So I am kind of leery about it, but I honestly don't think it'll break. It's just, I guess it's just weird feeling. Okay, so that's the noticeable differences on the outside. Now we're gonna go ahead and pull these drawers out of both of these boxes, and we're gonna take a look at the inside, and we're gonna jack these boxes up, and we're gonna look at the framing and how these boxes are built, and then we'll talk about the differences. We could take a look at these drawers as well, and we can see a pretty big difference in the drawers. The thickness of the Icon drawers is around 66 thousandths thick on the top drawer, and on the top drawer of the US General, it's around 50 thousandths thick. And we can also see that on the bottom of the top drawer of the Icon, the second drawer of the Icon, and the bottom drawer of the Icon, they also have support channels that run across the bottom of the drawers to help support heavier loads in them drawers, while the US General has nothing. Okay, we can take a look at the inside, and we can see the locking mechanism in the back. All it does, when you turn your key, just simply pulls those up. And on the back of the drawers, there's actually a little hook, and those hooks will catch in those and stop your drawer from opening. And we can see it's just two little brackets that it's attached to, and they are on there pretty weak. I can see the little spot welds down the side. It looks like 3 little spot welds. So it definitely is kind of chintzy back there. Some of these slides, as we'll see, can pull off, and some of them are actually screwed into the box. So we'll take off a couple of these slides, and we'll compare them to the Icon slides here in a few. But it looks like that it's painted all the way around. See, that's a big deal. The inside of the box, I've actually heard about Snap-on boxes rusting out from the inside because of them not painting them on the inside. The thing about metal is, once your metal starts rusting, it's like a cancer. It's going to spread and keep spreading. And that's the purpose of the paint. The paint will help prevent rust and help keep your box rotting out from the inside or from the outside. So if you had a piece of bare metal in here that, say, got a little rusty, over time, that rust is just going to keep spreading and spreading and spreading until it rots a hole in your box. The only way you can deal with rust, if it were to start eating holes through your metal, is you have to cut around that rust, cut that rust completely out. You have to get back to good metal, and then you're going to have to weld a piece of metal back in to good metal, and then you'll have to repaint both of those. Otherwise, you can't get rid of it. it's just going to keep eating and eating and eating until it destroys the metal. So we do want this box, both of these boxes, all boxes, to be painted all the way around. We don't want any type of bare metal showing. Now, I'm not picking on Snap-on directly. I'm just saying I had heard that, and any box that isn't painted on the inside will be susceptible to that rust. I'm going to try to get a measurement of this metal and see how thick it is, because I can't find anything that says what gauge metal this is, but I'm guessing it's probably 18. If I can find an area we can get a hold of to get a measurement. Looking like those support beams are 71 thousandths thick, so that's around 16 gauge. Now granted, I am measuring through paint and everything, so whether I'm getting an accurate measurement I'm probably not getting an accurate measurement, but we're just getting a general idea of how thick this is. Now this U channel on the side where the drawer slides attach, that does need to be heavy duty and welded good into the outside sheeting of the box. That's where all of our weight is supported from on our drawers. We could try to get a better look at this U channel I'm talking about right here. As we see, the slides attach here and here all the way down. And we can see the flange on the outside, and it looks like those flanges have been spot welded all the way down. So we'll take a look at the top, and we can see some U-channel up top as well. Now that's placed up there to run the length of the box to help support any weight that's put on the top of the box. And we can see this U-channel, it doesn't go all the way across, but there are two pieces, and we can see they're not very thick. It's looking like probably 1/2 inch. So we're looking at 1/2 inch by, looking like 1/2 inch by 2.5. So some 2.5 by 1/2 inch U-channel meant to help support the weight on the top of the box. Now those will help with any weight you put on the top, but that's not going to handle a whole tremendous amount of weight. And we watch as I grab this. You can see it does have a lot of flex in right there. Now, these boxes are not expensive, but they are decent boxes. They're good boxes for most people, but they're not very expensive. Now we'll take a look at the other bank, and we can see it's pretty similar to the other side. The support for these slides are on this partition, and we can see some U-channel over here to support the slides. And we can also see the locking mechanism on this side as well. Now we can see that this partition has been riveted into the back right there. So this is not even welded. And we can see at the top the U-channel does not go all the way over on this side either. And we can see some support brackets for the handles. This is where your handles slide in. Okay, let's jack this thing up and take a look underneath of it. So we take a look under the US General 56-inch box, and we can see the frame of this now. And the frame is angle iron and angle iron. So the frame runs around and is supported by these two pieces of angle iron, which then the box sets down on, and we can see that the box rolls around the frame. Box rolls around the frame, and then it's welded to the bottom of the box, and we can see no welds. There's a weld right there. So it's just spot welded in a few spots around, and we can see the casters are supported by some angle iron too. So let's see. It's like the angle iron is around 94 thousandths thick. So that's not very, very thick for the frame of this. And we can also look and see the partition is also riveted in on the bottom. So I'm only counting. Look like they spot welded it at every piece of angle iron. The angle iron is spread out. It's like about 19 inches. It's 16 inches. And we can see how the casters are attached. It's just simply a piece of angle iron and then another piece of angle iron for the frame. So the frame looks like to me like it's two pieces of angle iron on the end with two other pieces of angle iron that run the sides, and it's supported by four other pieces of angle iron, the two pieces on the ends being for the casters. So these casters are just supported by a 95 thousandths thick piece of angle iron. And the angle iron has only been welded on the ends of both the angle irons, and we can see the heat transfer from the weld right there and there, if we can get a shot. And we can see the angle irons notched out, and that's probably for when they build this to attach these casters to the bolts. And we can see on the ends that they did weld this more than the ends. I'm sure there's a weld down there, and we can see two more welds here. And it looks like here, like you can start to see rust coming in. And that's going to be a weak spot for anything. When you're welding, your welds are going to attract rust. So it's pretty important to, if you weld and build anything, you need to clean that and paint it, because that's exactly where your rust is going to start. So there's a look at the 56-inch bottom frame. Now let's go ahead and look at the icon, and we're going to see any differences in the build, if there is any or not. Okay, now we're inside the 56-inch icon box.